This right here is the suspect. His name is Ayman Ghazale. And guess where he's from? Dearborn, frickin' Michigan, the stronghold of the Muslims in the United States. That's where he's from. Now take a look at this. Austin shooter, a U.S. citizen from Senegal. New York City bombers, U.S. citizens from Turkey and Afghanistan. Old Dominion shooter, U.S. citizen from Sierra Leone. And Michigan synagogue attacker, legal immigrant from Lebanon. All of them are Muslim. All of them. Wow. Crazy. Why do they all have this in common? Why are all of them Muslim?
This situation, this was an Israeli temple. It was aligned with Israel. I will say that.
A Jewish temple?
A Jewish temple.
A Jewish synagogue is not an Israeli temple.
It's called the real Israel temple.
They're Jewish.
How you doing? This is Sahar TV with breaking news coming out of Michigan, where a synagogue in Michigan was rammed by a vehicle with a Lebanese inside, apparently affiliated with Hezbollah, who was granted access to the United States in 2011 and got citizenship under the Obama administration in 2016. So these are the details we have so far from NBC. A driver rammed a vehicle into a large synagogue in West Bloomfield Township, Michigan. Today, it was actually yesterday, an exchanged gunfire with security guards in an attack that set off fears across the state and the Jewish community. The driver was killed and the security guard was injured. 8 first responders were being treated, an area hospital said. All the students and staff members at the temple preschool were uninjured. Oakland Country Sheriff Mike Butchard said the driver breached the facility by driving in through the doors. The car caught fire after something ignited inside, and the suspect was found dead in the vehicle. It's unclear exactly what the cause of the death was.
We're committed to keeping this community safe. If you think you can target the Jewish community in this county or anywhere in this state, you're wrong. We're going to not only stand in front of them to protect them, we're coming for you. So with that, thank you.
The sheriff announcing that this happened at about 12:15 or so, 12:19 local time, when police got a call for an active shooter and somebody inside was driving a vehicle or had rammed the vehicle into the building itself. No students, none of the kids, and none of the staff were injured. The suspect was immediately identified in terms of targeted or taken out, I should say, by security teams there at the synagogue. And he was eliminated. One security officer, the head of security at the temple, was injured as he was hit by the vehicle itself. They also made the point that they have for years, they have worked together, trained together for a mass casualty incident, and they responded very quickly and instituted all of those policies and everything that they have worked on. We're going to quickly now bring back in NBC's Tom Winter, who's been talking to his sources as well. Tom, talk about the people who were impacted by this, and specifically that fire that started here. Do we yet know how that happened?
Yeah, the fire appears to have been started by some sort of incendiary device that was contained within that car. We should have some more information on that shortly. The details here, and Jennifer Runyon, this is her second incident involving is head of the FBI in Detroit, involving a religious institution. Look, it's very clear the Jewish community here was targeted. That's what she's saying. That's why this is a federal crime. That's why the FBI is involved. And now a big question will be, why did this person target the Jewish community?
Because he is Islamist. Because he's from Lebanon. Because he never liked the Jews. Because it's got nothing to do with Israel. This right here is the suspect. His name is Ayman Ghazale. And guess where he's from? Dearborn, frickin' Michigan, the stronghold of the Muslims in the United States. That's where he's from. Okay? Now, just to remind you a little bit about the mentality in Dearborn, Michigan, of the Muslims in particular, this is an imam from Dearborn. Let's see what he has to say.
When we're raising these children who will be the soldiers of the Mahdi, we know what we're looking for. Inshallah, we're hoping to give our children a fighting chance to be in the army of the Mahdi. So we want our children to be able to understand when they hear Sayyid Hassan Nasrallah say that we are in Karbala, we are remembering Karbala, we are in Karbala. We want our kids, the children, to get it, to understand.
We want our children, our kids, to understand it. I think that's incitement for terrorism, isn't it?
My question to you is this. When somebody at the level of taqwa and ilm, like Sayyid Hassan Nasrallah, when he says a statement like that, Is he not aware of the ahadith that talk about the status of Hussein? Why does he say Imam Khamenei is the Hussein of the time? Why does the leaders say, may Allah protect him and keep him for us until he takes us to the Mahdi? Why does the leaders say, the war in Gaza isn't a war between Gaza, Hamas, and Israel? This is haqq and batil. All of Iman versus all of istikbar. Why would they say these things?
So haqq is the truth, right? And they claim that Islam is the truth. And Christianity is batil, false. And Judaism is batil, false. And Buddhism and Hinduism is batil, false. In Hebrew, it means canceled. So this has nothing to do, according to what he said, with Israel and Gaza. This has to do with truth and false. Islam, according to them, and Judaism.
Why do they connect the dots? More importantly, for you and I who are parents, and we have a responsibility, these children who Allah blessed us with are our amana. We have to have those conversations with them so they understand, they connect the dots. This continues.
Now take a look at this. Austin shooter, a U.S. citizen from Senegal. New York City bombers, U.S. citizens from Turkey and Afghanistan. Something in common. Old Dominion shooter, U.S. citizen from Sierra Leone. And Michigan synagogue attacker, legal immigrant from Lebanon. All of them are Muslim. All of them. Wow. Crazy, right? Crazy. Why do they all have this in common? Why are all of them Muslim? Why are all of them targeting the kuffars? Because that's what the doctrine teaches and preaches. Because of imams like the imam we just saw, that's why they do what they do. Absurd. Now take a look at this footage from the Michigan synagogue.
Are we seeing that smoke on the roof? But we're seeing heavy smoke coming out of the entryway, one of the entryway doors of the synagogue. So this just goes to show, something has got to be going on in there, some sort of fire.
That looks like a very active fire.
It does.
It's a big building, so obviously it doesn't look like it's billowing yet, but it's with the way it's coming out of the side there, it definitely would appear that multiple locations inside are likely on fire. That is stronger smoke than what we saw earlier. So again, these, we've been showing these images in a little bit of a delay because again, we're trying to protect the law enforcement, what they're doing and how they're doing it, because we don't want to be providing all of that information just yet.
Here's another video from the Michigan sheriff talking about the situation. Watch.
Guys, can you say anything about any potential casualties, anyone hurt?
Nobody at the moment has been confirmed to be hurt, except potentially the shooter.
Any ties potentially to terrorism with the president?
That's still way early to talk about. We have no idea because we don't even know who the person is at the moment.
Has that person been neutralized?
We don't have that person in custody.
So they're still on the run.
It's a work in progress. So that's why we're sheltering in place until we figure it out. It's a big facility with a lot of land around it. Until that gets secured and everybody's comfortable that there's no active threat in that spot, stay away from it, shelter in place.
We're told there's a daycare school. Are all those kids out?
Yeah, everybody's been moved out of the school. We've got a ton of people here. As I said, West Bloomfield got on scene in a heartbeat. Everybody else came from everywhere. Actually, the chief and I have been communicating for almost 2 weeks. Every time I've gotten some intelligence from the national level, I've been sharing. We've been talking for 2 weeks about the potential, sadly, of this happening. So there was no lack of preparation. In addition, all Jewish facilities in the area are going to have a lot of extra presence around it until we figure this out.
Here's what Trump had to say about the incident in Michigan.
Before we begin, I want to send our love to the Michigan Jewish community and all of the people in Detroit area following the attack on the Jewish synagogue early today, and I've been fully briefed, and it's a terrible thing, but it goes on. We're going to be right down to the bottom of it. It's absolutely incredible that things like this happen.
Now, could this be a new dawn where sleeper cells are awakened in the United States? Because yesterday alone we had 2 Islamic terroristic attacks. One with Muhammad Ja'alu with 1 dead and 2 wounded, and one in Michigan where, fortunately, nobody lost their lives. But we had at least 140 preschool students inside that temple. So to the people who say, no, this doesn't represent Islam, so why do we keep seeing the same situations happening time and time again? Why is that the case? If it's not about the Jews and it's about Israel, then why are Jews in the United States targeted? Why is that the case? These are scenes from Michigan from yesterday. And of course, there's a large amount of police force present there because of a bomb threat, which makes the whole protocol different. Now, I want you to take a look at this absolutely moronic video where this person right here says that the synagogue was targeted because it's an Israeli synagogue, because it's called Temple Israel. She's so stupid. Watch.
To you on this. We have seen the rise in anti-Semitic attacks in the UK since October the 7th, 3 years ago. But what's interesting, I think, where's the difference between the two countries is that we've had multiple Islamic terrorist attacks in the UK over the last 20 years, but not always at Jewish targets. We've had concert halls, we've had random tourists, we had 7th of July on public transport. They weren't targeted against Jewish people. Traditionally in America, not traditionally, but in recent times, have these attacks been predominantly against Jewish targets?
Well, I can't really speak on that directly. I can say that this situation, this was an Israeli temple. It was aligned with Israel. I will say that.
A Jewish temple?
A Jewish temple.
A Jewish synagogue is not an Israeli temple.
It's called the real Israel temple.
They're Jewish.
Okay.
They're the people of Israel.
How do you
just finish my point.
It was wrong from the premise. They're not Israeli. They're Jewish.
So they're called the real Israeli temple.
Do you know how many temples in the US are called Israel Temple or Temple Israel? Heck, let's Google it right now. This is only in the northeast coast. Take a look at how many. So all of these are potential targets, right? Because they are affiliated with Israel. They're called Temple Israel because we are B'nai Israel. The Jews are B'nai Israel. Has nothing to do with the state of Israel other than the fact that the state of Israel is a Jewish state. How stupid can you be?
Yes, and they do align with Israel and their beliefs. So this attack, also what we found out from the guy who attacked them was that he did have family in Lebanon that was killed from strikes, and that was confirmed. We don't know whether or not who those family members were, but it was posted on social media, his social media.
Oh yeah, it was posted on social media, so it must make it true, right?
The night prior to the attack, that it was actually his family and his kids that were killed. Now that hasn't been confirmed by any other news organizations, but that was seen on his social media, and that
it wasn't confirmed by anybody, but it was on his social media, so that must make it true. Wow, she's so stupid. People are so delusional. And here are some people circulating what this woman said. The man who rammed his explosive-laden truck into a Michigan synagogue today was named Ayman Gazale. According to a source familiar with the situation, Gazale posted photos overnight of his family members, including young children who were killed in a recent Israeli attack on the town of Masgare, Lebanon. This is a developing story, and these are his kids that were allegedly killed by Israelis. Now, question to the people watching. If your family was killed by Israeli forces, allegedly, does that give you the right to go and kill people? American Jews in America, people who have nothing to do with Israel other than the fact that they're Jewish, does it give you the right to do it? What do you think? Of course it doesn't give you the right to do it. And the fact that the previous journalist said, oh yeah, his family was killed in Lebanon, so that gives him justification to do it. So stupid. What are you saying? What are you saying?
According to multiple law enforcement sources there on the ground, our own John Miller getting this information for us as well, that emergency responders apparently found a large amount of explosives in the back of the vehicle, which just gives you even more insight into the sinister nature of what happened here. Again, finding a large amount of explosives in the back of this suspect's vehicle. The same suspect who rammed his car into Temple Israel there, and then was immediately encountered by security there on the ground, who were able to take him out by shooting him. That suspect, we are told now, is dead. And another bit of interesting information, just to give you this state of the type of society that we're now living in and what Jewish groups have to deal with. Just about several weeks ago, about 5 weeks ago, we are also learning that Temple Israel actually participated in an active shooter drill there at the temple. This is what the staff had gone through. Folks there who work at the facility had organized just to prepare in case something awful like this had actually happened. We're also hearing that the NYPD, New York City Police Department.
I bet people will say that this proves it's a false flag, right? Because they were preparing for an active shooter situation, which they do in almost every synagogue in the United States, because not a lot of people like the Jews. So this scenario makes sense, as we could have seen here. People are so stupid.
Is tracking the situation, and out of an abundance of caution, as they often do when situations like this happen, they are deploying resources into high visibility Jewish buildings and facilities here in New York City. But once again, just a little bit more information about the sinister nature of what happened with this suspect. Apparently, again, according to multiple law enforcement sources on the ground, they found explosives, a large amount of explosives in the back of that suspect's vehicle.
Now, I want you to take a look at this report, right, that was posted on the Dearborn official page. Take a look at the comments, what they say about this Hezbollah-affiliated terrorist. Given our everyday scenario, we will never know the truth. This could have been an incident where the man lost control of his car. He was not an active shooter. Oh yeah, totally lost control of his car exactly through the front door of the synagogue. Perfectly, a perfect match right inside. It was just an accident, right? He lost control. This guy is a brilliant driver that he perfectly fit inside the front door. Yeah, makes sense. We all know Ayman. He's a sweetheart and kind. There's no way he had a gun or any intention of hurting anyone. They killed his brothers and his little nephew and niece. Anyone would break under that kind of pain. He lost his mind because the grief is just unbearable. Wow. 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 So stupid how Muslims who commit terror attacks, people always justify by saying, yo, yeah, their family was killed, so they went and avenged their death. So why don't we see Israelis from October 7th, that their entire families were wiped from the face of the earth? Why don't we see them going and committing terroristic attacks? Why? Is it because we're Jews? Yes. It's because we're not Islamic. It's because we don't have that mentality. Smells like a false flag. Wouldn't be surprised if the guy was pressured, threatened, or even nudged into something that could later be used to justify a narrative or crackdown. Let's stop pretending that this has anything to do with Israel. This has to do with hating Jews because of our religion, because of our success, because of our collective. This is what it has to do with. And if you want to stop this from happening, stop letting these people immigrate. Because people who don't align with the West will try to cripple the West from within by doing terroristic attacks, by getting elected into government, and by changing the system from within. If you don't want this, then immigration ban should take place. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye. If you'd like to watch more of my stuff, please check out my channel down below. If you like what you see, don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel and hit that notification button so you can be notified every time I upload new content. If you'd like to support me and the channel financially, you can do that using Buy Me Coffee or Patreon down in the links below. Also, we now have a Discord that you can join down in the link below. And now you can become a YouTube member and enjoy specific YouTube perks. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video.